Hi, this is Alex Helmbrecht, the Sports Information Director at Chadron State College. I'm here this morning with Chadron State women's basketball coach Tim Connealy. The Eagles had a pretty successful weekend last weekend here at home, hosting Fort Lewis and Adams State, coming away with an 85-76 victory against Adams State. In that game, Katie Rana, of course, many of you probably have heard, scored 40 points, which is the third highest total in Chadron State women's basketball history, and she became just the second women's basketball player to score over 40 points. Gwen Reed was the other, and she did it twice. So obviously a great game for Katie. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But Coach, just what are your thoughts on the weekend? You improved to 2-10 overall, more importantly 2-6 in the RMAC, and you kind of got off that losing slide with a nice win.
You know, I thought our kids competed pretty well this weekend outside of 20 minutes against Fort Lewis on Friday night. You know, Fort Lewis came out and put a full court run and jump press on us in the first half, and I think we turned the ball over 18 times in the first half of that basketball game, and you know, I think consequently we came in with a 20-point deficit. But after those first 20 minutes, I felt like our kids really calmed down the second half of that game Friday night, and then carried that over into the game Saturday, and just really played at a high level Saturday and got a big win.
Yeah, Fort Lewis entered the game 3-6 overall, 3-2 in the RMAC. Ended up getting the 78-66 win, and as Coach mentioned, really, it just was the game was kind of decided in the first half. The score is a little bit closer, and it's not really indicative of how the game was played. But I know that you were personally happy to see that the Eagles outscored Fort Lewis 40-37 in the second half, and got some nice performances from Kate Simonton. She scored 15. Katie Rana finished with 22 and 7, and then you got a nice performance from Sadie Waugh, 9 and 4, coming off the bench.
Yeah, you know, like I mentioned before, I thought in the second half these kids came in and just were a lot more aggressive on the offensive end, much more assertive, and you can see it just in our free throw totals. In the first half, we only attempted 4 free throws, and that wasn't because of the officiating or what Fort Lewis was doing. We just weren't taking care of the basketball, and we weren't being aggressive with it. In the second half, we really focused on ball security, and when we did dribble drive, trying to get into the middle of the paint, which, you know, leads to an open floor to pass to as well as fouls. And in the second half, we attempted 23 free throws. And when we're shooting free throws at that level, or when we're shooting that many free throws, that means we're being aggressive getting into the paint.
I know you heading into Adams State, some of the problems that you guys had in Fort Lewis, offensive rebounding and turnovers, both of those are fixed. You finished with less turnovers against Adams State, and you actually did a better job of crashing the boards, finishing with 13 offensive rebounds. However, Adams State ended up scoring more second chance points, or excuse me, you scored more second chance points in Adams State, 13-6. It really pressed the issue and went to the foul line 45 times.
Yeah, you know, I think one of the biggest difference is it was just a different matchup. You know, Fort Lewis, their strength is their guard play. They have a couple of senior guards who are very quick and athletic and could really cause us some problems in that game. And Adams State is more post-dominant, you know, and we have a young squad, and especially at the guard position, we're pretty inexperienced. And I thought Fort Lewis was able to take advantage of that a little bit. Adams State wasn't able to take advantage of that. We were able to cross half court without a lot of pressure or anxiety and kind of get into our motion offense a lot easier, which I think opened up shots for Katie Ranta and some of our post players. So I think our kids are growing up a little bit, and we're starting to handle pressure a little bit better. And I think once we continue to handle that pressure, especially at the guard spot, it's going to help out our entire offense.
Got a nice performance from Hattie Guzman, scoring a career-high 13 points. She also tied for the team honors with 4 assists. And then Dallas Shaw finished with 12 points. She had 6 rebounds, 4 assists. A really nice all-around game from her. She also had 3 steals and hit probably the biggest shot of her career, a 3-pointer that made it a five-point game.
Yeah, that was just a fun game to be a part of. You know, obviously we knew Katie Ranta was having a special night in the first half, and it was continuing into the second half. But I thought a lot of kids really stepped up and played well. Hattie Guzman, she finally started getting a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end. We've been talking to her about that for 2 weeks now, is just looking for a shot more. And the 13 points are nice, but the 8 shot attempts is what we like. You know, when she's shooting that many attempts, you know, she's a type of kid that doesn't take real bad shots. So if she's getting that many shots shots up. They're usually good quality shots. And late in that game, I thought Dallas Shaw hit a big shot, but, like you had mentioned, I thought she played well the whole game. Defensively, we were running a little bit of a different type of defense, what we call a floating man-to-man, and she was our floater, and I thought she read the offense very well, got a couple steals, or at least got her hands on some balls. And then late in the game, like you mentioned, that three-pointer she hit with a minute left really kind of put the game out of the reach, or at least put it into a game where I thought if we got one more stop, Adams State would have to start fouling us, which, you make a couple free throws here and there, and hopefully that is the game. Another kid that I thought played really, really well was Lisa Durden. She didn't make any shots, but I thought she was very active with her on-the-ball defense, and she was really able to pressure those Adams State guards and keep them out of what they were doing. And, she also finished with 7 assists to 1 turnover, which for our team right now, where we've been turning the ball over at such a high level, I thought she just really gave us some security at that point guard position behind Hattie Guzman.
And as Coach mentioned, Katie Rana obviously had a special game. She went 10 of 18 from the field, 20 of 24 from the foul line. The 20 makes and the 24 attempts are both school records. She also finished with 12 rebounds, 40 points, 1 block, 2 steals in 31 minutes. Pretty effective game.
Yeah, we were really proud of Katie Ranta. Where she's come from. 3 years ago, she was the type of kid that you looked at and thought, this kid has a good jump shot, but she has to work on just about everything else, physically, mentally, skill set wise. And through the course of 3 years, she's done it. She's completely transformed her body. She's become more durable due to her weight room, work ethic, and her just commitment to conditioning. And a couple years ago, I don't think she would have had the energy to attempt 24 free throws, let alone play 31 minutes and score 40 points on top of that. But she's a special kid. And she's had a special transformation these last couple of years, and it's been fun to be a part of.
Yeah, Katie's having a really great season. She leads the team with 16.5 points a game, and she's averaging just under 8 rebounds a game. So certainly a name to become familiar with. The Eagles have just one game this weekend. They will host Black Hills State on Saturday. Kind of a long-standing rival with Chadron State. However, Black Hills State is in its first year of Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference play. The Eagles actually have their most wins against an opponent in school history against Black Hills State. They own an overall record of 38-11. The Yellow Jacks got Chadron State last year up in Spearfish 68-55 though, and so I'm sure this is a game your girls are ready for.
Yeah, they're excited. We have a lot of kids on our team from this area, as does Black Hills, so a lot of our kids are familiar with each other. We've played them every year since I've been here, and we've split 2-2. The home teams won every time, and it's always been a good energy game. Both teams come out and they play extremely hard and they play extremely physical, and they do play with the chip on their shoulder a little bit. So I think it'll be a good game for our kids. We're glad Black Hills is in our conference. We look forward to having them as a rival down the road, and hopefully we can get that rivalry started this Saturday.
The Yellow Jackets are 3-9 overall, 2-6 in the RMAC, just like Chadron State. Chelsea Biegler is leading them with 15.4 points a game, just a shade under 4 rebounds. They have 2 other girls who are just around 10 points a game, so it should be a pretty competitive battle.
Yeah, I think it should be. Black Hills, like I said, they always play very, very hard, and they play with a lot of energy, which isn't always easy to do, and they're very physical. They're very fast. They like to push the ball. They mix up their defenses a little bit, but I think it's going to come down to just who plays with more energy. You mentioned Biegler. She's a great player, actually from the same high school as Katie Ranta, Rapid City Central, so these kids are going to be very familiar with each other, and I know that the coaches, I'm familiar with Coach Norrie. He's familiar with me, so I just expect a good quality college basketball game.
All right. Well, I'm sure it'll be a great crowd and a wonderful atmosphere for Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference game. That game tips off at 6 p.m., and best of luck to you, Coach.
All right. Thanks, Alex.